your phone.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
Here we go. Okay, we're live on two feeds: the Acting Center, waka, waka, woo, and Denice Duff.
Yeah.
So, hi. I just want to say thank you for inviting me to
course.
this fantastic school that I have been like on the peripheral parts of since the very beginning.
Yeah, you have, definitely.
And in many different ways, how have I contributed to just you guys? And,
yes.
and the fact that the research that you guys have done into acting and the technique of it and making it something that, bringing it back to a joyful, easy craft and taking away the mental psychosis of randomness of like, well, you either have to have a knack or you don't.
Yeah.
No, you guys are methodically taking away all the arbitrariness and making it something, a craft that anyone can do.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone can do it. And in fact, we're bringing the joy back into it. Because we've taken out all the things that people don't like about other trainings. You know,
Yeah.
The critiquing, the things
Yeah.
that... Anyway, we do bring
And
it back to the joyfulness. The actual skills needed to do it.
Right. And I will say, from years of acting and being in classes, that pain, actors tend to feel that that's a necessary part of their training.
Yes.
And that's so bogus, because at least from my experience of many of those actors from 2 decades ago, they're no longer doing it.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. It kind of forces you out of it. 'Cause you feel like you can't do it anymore.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I have this feeling that Meryl Streep has enjoyed her process of acting and doesn't take a lot of it home with her.
No.
And therefore is still continuing to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, she does. She becomes the character.
And
That's
you
what she
guys
does.
you guys give the ability to actors to be Meryl Streep, basically.
All of you. That's what we're all striving for. Even the guys.
I have to just say, Phyllis Berker's watching, and that's my mom. And
Hey, Phyllis!
that is some of the joy right there of social
so
media.
Amazing.
Yes, when you're grown up enough that you actually get really excited that your parent is watching.
Watching on Facebook Live.
Right?
Yeah.
So I want to just say something right now. You guys are starting to do these Facebook Lives, and I think it's brilliant.
Yes.
Because it's a, as I always say, this social media, at this point, it's free, right? Now, yes, you pay ads and there's all that stuff, but we all have a phone. We all have the ability to communicate a message right from our phone and get it out into the world.
Exactly.
And to not make use of that, unless you're super like happy and at the top of your field and winning, if you're not making use of that, you're not taking advantage of, as my mother says, make use of the free facilities.
Phyllis, you taught your daughter well. Well, that's why, I mean, this is the first one that we're doing live, and that's why I really am excited to have you here, because you are so brilliant at using these facilities and making the most of it, and showing people what it's like to live and use these things in this world to really, like, not only for yourself and letting people know what you are doing, but also in finding out what other people are doing and showing the world other things around them that are there every day.
Yeah.
That's what I love about what you do. It's a connection, it's a communication, it's a hooking up into humanity.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, and I'm gonna let you in on sort of like, I don't know, a secret, and I probably shouldn't say it. Which days do you post on Facebook Live? Look at that, they already want to know our schedule. So, you know, I have lived in LA all my life, actress, photographer. We decided a couple years ago to change our lives, right? Daughter, 22 years old, doing her own thing, fantastic Paris Helena, follower, photographer. And we just wanted to change it up, and we always thought it would be an awesome dream to live in Manhattan. So that's what we're doing.
I live there too.
Yeah, you guys are like, your starts are in New York. And I think everyone should experience New York, especially if you're an artist. But I will say, it can get a little lonely when you've left your group of friends, right? You know, my whole life I'm living in LA, and I have my group of friends, and and you can go to their house and you could talk about like, oh, the other day, like I saw this guy or I was at this audition, and you satiate this desire to tell stories. And oh God, as soon as I say tell stories, I get this emotion.
I know.
So in New York, I'm just going to push through it.
Yeah.
In New York, so much magic would happen to me just on the way to the frickin' subway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you're on the subway and another piece of magic happens. Yeah. And I would come home and it was just me and my fucking cat, you know? And I felt the need to share this because it also makes me happier.
I understand, absolutely. No, and it's so true. It's so easy to connect with people in New York because you're there, you're in the middle of it. There's everybody. There's people from all over the world. They're there. You're rubbing elbows, bumping elbows. Everybody.
And it energizes you.
Yeah.
You know, and it feeds you. And again, back to my mom, make use of the free facilities. To me, a free facility is mankind.
Yeah.
Like, and when I start to get a little introverted and go, gosh, you know, I'm how old and what am I doing? And I sold my house and now I live in, you know, what I do is I just look at that guy selling pretzels. He's so sweet. I'm going to ask him his name and buy a pretzel and find out where he's from. And within seconds, I'm out of my head and I'm back to a creative place. Yeah. So the sort of secret that I'm letting into is that you love that viewpoint, is I make these videos because they feed me and because I get to share it with people. And when I don't get to interact with people after a couple days, voices in your head, right? It can be dark, and yet all you have to do is connect with a person. You know,
so true.
I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I'm not a huge TV watcher, but I get my sanity from people out there. You know, from the insane, wonderful world. You know,
it's a great place to draw inspiration.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, we have an exercise that we do at the Acting Center, which is actually going out to talk to people on the street and find out about them. You know, because that's what actors do. We have to become different people. So a way to do that is really let's talk to somebody, find out what their day-to-day life is like. What do they think about things that's different than you?
Wow, that's so great. Do they have to do multiple people or different types, and do they write it down and do they share it back in class?
You can share it, and it's like because it gets you beyond that surface of what you think somebody is. You know, you got this. I get them. I get what they're like, and you walk up to them, you start talking to them, you find out, they are completely different, right? And underneath, you scratch the surface, there's this really interesting person.
Yes. Yes, that's hashtag my life in New York, you know?
Exactly.
Wow.
And let's talk about social media, because you use this all the time, and I admire it so much.
I appreciate a good deal. We were raised without a lot of money, so I'm like, this is free, I'm going to use it, you know? And I will say, too, like, you know, I've had a good acting career, and I've done, you know, like movies and TVs, but there was always this part of me that never got to play a part that was really me.
Yeah.
You know, and I will say, you know, acting, you get to be other people, and that's great. And you get to go into dark places and do other things. But I really liked me, you know? And that the girl that was just very interested and happy to sparkle and make someone happy, right? And I did never get to play that. I was like the girl, the witness who was, you know, and the vampire, right? Oh my God, the director is constantly bringing me down. Like, you know, Denice, you're, you know, and I'm like, okay. Yeah. And so, you know, the idea of like, once this came out and I could do little Instagram stories and share my viewpoint on you know, like right across the street, you have a sign, you have a store that specializes on clothing for short men.
That's right.
And they have a sign that says, we'll make you taller, slimmer, and younger. Like that is I wanted to share that. Like, and I didn't have a couple friends with me in the car, but I had my phone, and all of you guys are always with me. And I got to share that humorous phrase and say, look at that. Who doesn't want to be a little younger, taller, and slimmer, you know?
Yeah.
And so my take on that, and that sort of funny thing, it gives me joy that I can make someone laugh.
Yeah, it's important.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, 15 seconds, an Instagram story, boom, it lasts for 24 hours. And you would be amazed at the amount of people scrolling through, tapping to see what are your 15 seconds stories.
Yeah.
And they're gone in a day. And nothing is so precious. That's the thing. It's like people get a little nervous. And really, if you have email and if you have a phone, the world knows everything about you.
Yeah.
To a degree, And I have a policy that I won't post anything that I don't feel, if I were to run for office, that I would be proud of. Or that would be on the cover of like Time magazine or something.
Yeah.
And everything I put out there, I wouldn't care.
Yeah, well, I think that's important too, especially if you're an actor, because that you are your product.
Yes.
And if you start posting things that are, a little kind of regretful, then that could actually come back to bite you.
And if it bites you, then the worst part is then stopping posting.
Yeah.
Right? Then you're like, and then you do nothing.
Yes.
And that's the worst thing. The worst thing to do is nothing. So you kind of start to balance it, and so I go on without makeup. I don't have to look pretty all the time.
Yeah.
To be honest, people love it the most. Like when I do a video of peeling my false eyelashes off, showing my I'm like, okay, here's my gray roots. I want you to see that. And here I've got a crayon that I lick for my gray roots.
That's
people
real.
love transparency.
Yeah.
And, and I've coached people on how to do this, which I think is really adorable, And I have a friend in New York who, she's a wellness coach, but she had some dental, where people are finding disease in fillings.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Right? And a lot of toxicity from dental work. So she had her these teeth taken out and has a flipper. And we had dinner. And she had to take them out. She's like, I don't ever want people to see me like this. She's like, but Denice, you'd probably do something like that. And I'm like, hell yeah. And you're going to chew. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're going to take them off on a Facebook picture. And 2 days later, she texts me. She's like, look what you started. And she showed me a little screenshot. And she got so many direct messages of people wanting to know about what she's doing. They also had blah, blah, blah. Wow. And now she's on fire.
Wow.
Because she just let people see, at 42 with no front teeth.
Yeah.
And told her story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a story.
People don't care about perfection. They care about that journey. When we were redoing stuff in our house, like I started sharing videos before people even knew that you could video and hold the camera. Remember, people would always say, Denice, who's filming it for you?
Who's filming?
Do you have a steady cam? This was like 8 years ago.
Wow.
And I'm spray painting like something I got at the Goodwill.
Yeah.
And
when you redecorate your house.
Redecorate, and I'd go into dumpsters and take it in my backyard and spray paint it. And then I'm like, shit, I got spray paint over my lawn. Here I thought I was saving money, and now I just wasted it by ruining my lawn.
And now they're gonna redo the lawn.
Yeah, but it's you're making a little show. You're showing your life and the journey of it, because that was way more interesting than waiting till it was all done and showing a picture of, look at my nice kitchen.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right? Like, who cares, really? Like, that's a nice kitchen. Yeah. But what do people like? Seeing that it was like 70s old-fashioned wood, and how me and my husband, went to Home Depot and tried to figure out which one to pick, and bring people along on the journey.
I think that's really important. I do. It's interesting because, that's why, I'm just getting started doing this whole thing, right? And so for me, that was the idea too. It was like, all right, well, let's just try this. Let me get you here so you can tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And because I have had such a hard time just embracing this social media thing, right? Because I'm not the person that's like, oh, I want to show what I ate for breakfast or whatever.
Right. I understand that. I understand that.
I'm just not me. And I'm definitely involved in the school and what the school is doing, and that's
yeah.
what I really want to showcase and tell people about.
Right.
You know.
Right. And that's the point. And like made this video that I give to women where I go over like little hair and makeup tips, right? And the only reason that I made that video, someone wants to be on our video. The only reason is that I don't feel like, oh, women need to always have hair and makeup, but you need to, whatever it takes to make you feel comfortable, to lean in and press play.
Yeah. Well,
that's really it, you know?
Awesome.
And if you're out there doing it, like, you know, Mr. Jim Meskimen, you know, if you're doing it, then fine. But if you feel self-conscious or like, oh, my gray, good, here's a little crayon. It's $4. Get rid of that. Good, now you're ready to talk about your, you know, that you're a physical therapist, or you sell jewelry too, or you're a realtor and you want to tell someone about this new listing. Showing people where the good light is, or how to put a little bit of concealer in a little pink cheek, you know, how to stick your hair up in a little scrunchy, a scrunchy clip, one little thing, and then you're like, oh, okay, a little glamorous.
A little glam
you
right
know?
there.
And that's the only reason I show women these things, is because I never want that to stop this heart from being shared with the world. And so with you, you have this school of brilliance. And so, it's just that little, like, getting past the, like, and sharing it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And you've seen, I mean, you've been in this business from all aspects of it. You've been an actress. You've been in casting. You've been a director. Yeah. You probably produced.
I was a talent agent.
Talent agent. I mean, it's like you've done everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you have so much knowledge to give to people and to share with people over social media as well.
And I think what I like about doing that is that I have a positive viewpoint about it. You know,
so important.
And important. You know, I photograph a lot of actors. And hi, Lisa, you're the only shout out I've done, and my mom
and Phil.
And that, you know, I'll whether I was agenting or being a photographer. I'll have actors sometimes say, you know, well, you know, I really am doing this just for the craft, and I'm not like, you know, those really stuck-up actors and actresses that are all about them. And I have to say, when I hear that, it hurts my heart. Because, first of all, it's a profession that they want to be in, and then they're talking crap about it, right? Yeah. It's kind of like you're married to your husband, and then you tell your girlfriend, you know, Johnny, he's kind of like, I don't know, he's fat, and he doesn't really know how to... When he hugs me, it's weird, or his breath is bad. Why would you talk smack about somebody who you're in a team with? And I feel, oh gosh, Julie Michaels, I love you so much. I feel that whenever an actor starts to diss the industry, they're elevating themselves and pushing others down ever so slightly, and it's only coming from a place of hurt or loss,
or insecurity, or
you know, in some way you wanted to be further along than you are, and you're not, but you see Joe is, but you're like, well, Joe, he's like takes too many selfies or whatever, maybe he does, but you don't have to talk, you don't have to diss it. That's energy wasted. You've just wasted a few seconds of your brief breath of eternity to find something positive.
Yeah, that's really true.
Yeah, and I let these people know, I'm like, you know what, I've been in this business from many different ends, and I have a lot of celebrity friends, and when you sit down and talk one-on-one, they're no different than you. They first of all, certainly want to do this for the craft. Yeah. Because you cannot make it onto that screen without loving the craft. But you also have to have balls of steel, confidence, and a great business head. Yeah. You know?
And not being afraid to promote too, because, and that's my husband's so good at this. Jim is so good about this. He is
Jim like Meskimen. Follow him.
The king of yes, you know, next to you. But and I think actors have that thing in their heart that they don't want to do that. They don't want to send the postcards. They don't want to do the social media. They don't want to because they don't want to.
Well, I'll tell you, as having been an agent. They feel like, well, I don't want to stalk them.
Right.
Stalk them. Stalk, well, I would say stalk us. But you do it. I would have actors that would send headshots, and they would say, Denice, first of all, I just want to tell you, you were my favorite vampire in the Subspecies series. What a small world that you're working at the Bobby Ball agency. I would love a meeting with you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, they took a little time to find out who I am, right? It creates a little bit of affinity there. It connects you. And it's kind of like somebody who, and I hate talking in this way, but I'll have people that want my autograph, and it's a small amount, but it's this vampire world. And I'll get an email and they'll just say, I am a big fan. I would like your autograph. No, you don't. You just Googled women. Right? But when they say, what was Romania like? Full Moon Entertainment was some of my favorite films in the 90s. Just wanted to say hi. I'm going to give you a headshot.
Absolutely.
You know, because they took the time to find out who you are.
About you. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so it's that kind of reaching is always acceptable. You know? People have connected with celebrities on Twitter. It's crazy. Like, they will respond. If there's a director that you want to work with, or an actor, or, you know, to compliment an actor, that it's never going to be stalking when your heart comes from a place of positivity.
Yeah. And you mean what you say.
Yes.
Know? Yeah.
Yeah. And when actors feel like, well, you know, I don't want to be, you know, showy, what it means is you've felt somebody else was showy, so you don't want to be them. And so what are you doing? You're not doing something. You're cutting off, where they say, cut off your nose to spite your face. Right?
That's a funny expression, isn't it? That's it.
So don't worry about not being someone else. Just worry about being you. Like, it's better to be something than to not be something.
Yes. And be who you are. Don't be afraid to be who you are, because that's actually what sells you.
It's
That's
super sexy.
Is very sexy, because people, like you said, going back to what you said earlier, people connect with that realness, that, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
That's what they want.
Yeah.
You know? Even casting directors, I think it's like they want to see who you are as a person, you know?
One of the biggest connections I made with a director was when I went on a commercial audition for Mr. Clean, and you go and you slate your name and you stand there and it looks very much like this, and I'm like, hi, my name is oh my God, I am so sorry, I just had one of those fizzy energy drinks. They were like new, right? This was years like when okay, we'll do that again. Denice Duff. Okay, profiles. Okay, do the audition, go home. But got a call back, book the commercial. Talk to the director, and he goes, I just want to tell you, you had us at the fizzy burp. I'm like, really? And then he called me back again for a Purina cat chow or something, and literally said, you got to make your slate just as fun. I'm like, oh God, now the pressure's on.
The pressure's on.
Now the pressure's on, right? So I like slate, and I was like, I have no gas for you. This is, you know. But again, it's the humanity of it. I just told my mom, because we just recently watched The Graduate over Thanksgiving, and on TCM they give you the backstories. And Dustin Hoffman leaned into Lynn Stallmaster, the casting director, and said, what am I doing here? What do you want, like a Jewish guy who's kind of geeky to, you know? And when they said Lynn Stallmaster, I said to my mom, I'm like, I auditioned for Lynn Stallmaster. And I remembered it was for a movie of the week. And they always they'll ask you a question sometimes. Like, do you have any questions?
Yeah.
And when I had a question, I liked that, because I got to engage in a little conversation and give a little bit of Denice, right? And when I can be a little bit of Denice, then I am more comfortable. Yeah. And then I get, you know, then I get into my space, right? Yeah. But when I didn't have a question, I was like, no, I'm fine. And then I was like, and I found that I didn't relax enough sometimes. Yeah. You know? Yeah, sure. And so when they would say, do you have a question? If I didn't have a question, I would just say, no, I got, you know, I would make a statement, right? And on this particular Movie of the Week audition, they said, do you have any questions? And I said, no. I said, I think this gal Shelley, a bit like Shelley Winters, to be honest, I like the name, and I feel she's never been in a courtroom. I feel she's never even seen a TV show that has a court scene in it. I think she knows nothing about courtrooms. I don't know. And then we started, and I just made her like, she didn't have any decorum of like, yes, Your Honor, but you know, she was like, I don't know. I was just walking along the street and they came, you know, like I just wanted to play her as though she was someone that didn't know the rules of a courtroom.
Wow. Great.
So I wound up booking that.
That's a great choice too.
And it was with Celia Ward and Rachel Ward. But the best part was my manager was in the room because he was friends with Lynn Stallmaster, Jay Bernstein. And he said that Lynn told every actress after that, gave them that note. Play it as though she's never been in a courtroom.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So there was some, like, for me, it was like, there was something, like, I could have kept that to myself.
Yeah.
You know, but I wanted him to know that. Number one, it made me feel comfortable to just fucking engage. But then I figured he'll probably also see that.
Yes.
You know, a little bit more, you know.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's always good to do that. I mean, it is, it's, you know, you want, well, that's the thing. You're creating relationships in the casting room, and you're creating relationships over social media. You know, I mean,
that's
right?
it. You are creating. There's no different. And when people think that this is something new, this isn't new.
Yeah.
You know, it's more economical because you can touch more people than you can than you used to just 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And even though you and I weren't raised with this,
yeah.
you know, we were raised with the postcards, and you get that headshot and that's it. And then you book a job, and what do? You pay $800 to Variety Magazine to take out an ad, and you stress over the font, and there's only one company that you can call, and they'll do the layout for you. You know? And but it's all the same.
Yeah.
Like, so now you book the job, and you get a screenshot, and you put it out, and you make your little newsletter, and don't ever feel like you're doing too much.
No, you can't. And
you
not
know?
in this world.
And who cares if someone is like, oh, I keep getting your newsletter.
No.
You know? I get people send me newsletters, and all you have to do is just fucking delete it.
Yeah.
You know, excuse my F word. But it comes from a place of love.
It does.
Yes. And there's no restriction, which is...
Yes.
Yeah, you could just really be yourself. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, it is important. I mean, that's one of the lessons that I'm learning. I mean, obviously I watch my husband do this all the time, and I watch you do it all the time, and many people, and our mutual person that we admire,
Gary Vaynerchuk. Follow
amazing.
Gary
V.E.
V.E.
Amazing, just amazing.
Yes.
And he too comes from, what he talks about is empathy.
Yes.
Right? Which I think it's that realness and empathizing with people that draws them to you, and you to them.
Yeah.
You know? And
like it is so deep in me that I just walked into this acting classroom, and I saw there were two people at the wall going, you know, red, yellow, leather, red, yellow, leather, you know, two, blah, 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 blah. They were doing little mouth exercises, and right past them there was another couple, and they were doing something, and I was filled with, this is art, this is happening, and I immediately thought, okay, I have to document this. Like, I get this selfish excitability that when I'm around something great, I gotta share it because it will help people.
Yes.
And if it can't help someone, if it's only just gonna feed my ego, that's a waste of time.
Exactly.
Like, that's like, oh, look I'm eating a really nice food at a fancy restaurant. But if I made the freaking fancy food and I was able to make it for $1,
and you can share that information with someone how you put it together,
and that's my litmus test. If it's gonna, hello Gino, if it's going to help somebody, then I have to do it, and it's my philosophy as a photographer. You know, is that the picture needs to help the person get more work. And it's not just about looking pretty. It's not about how fun the background is, or it's about, does it convey something in its technicalness that will draw people in toward them. And it's also why I say, when you get the pictures done, survey them out. But in a lot of things in life, it's like you're your own counsel. But pictures is definitely something, unless you're like your husband who's a pro who could just know. It's a good thing to get other opinions, because I've had women pick their pictures and send them to me to do the little cleanup, and it's all the same.
It's
5 pictures of just the song, you know, because the one where they were brightly smiling, they felt their cheeks were too big. I'm like, you're smiling, you look lovely. I would cast you to be that, you know, but they get a little just hung up on this. You know, and just let someone else help you with that.
Denice is a fantastic photographer, by the way.
I like faces.
Really fantastic. Well, I mean, that's why we started the school, to help people. That's why the school was started.
Yeah.
It was to help actors, because we ran into so many people that had given up on acting.
Yeah.
That thought they couldn't do it anymore. They were so beaten down by other techniques, or incomplete things, and they just felt, so we were like, no, there's got to be another way to do this,
Yeah.
So that's why we started this.
Your booking ratios are incredible, and you really celebrate that.
Yeah.
They've got this great big wall, and they write on it who's booked and what they've booked, and they post it visually.
Yeah.
And that is like, I mean, I wish my acting classes did that. I did have an acting teacher that one time he came to class and he's like, he's like, where are all my professionals? Because there were a few scenes that went up and they weren't good. And he's like, where's all my professionals? And I raised my hand. I said, sir, they're out working. And he loved that, And then like he came to class the next weekend and he goes, people are complaining there's no workout. And it's quiet. It's a low time. He goes, what the hell is this? And it was when TV Guide was out. And he starts ripping pages. He's like, here, there's work here, there's work here. And he just started ripping the TV Guide and throwing it. And I'll never forget that, because it's like, oh yeah, there's work.
There's no scarcity,
there's
especially
no
now.
scarcity.
Oh my gosh, with all the new platforms, Netflix and everybody, there's so much stuff. It's also, I think it's an easier time for younger, more actors coming in that are new to get started, and there's so many projects going on. That
Remember what it was to make a demo reel? The only way you could get footage was you had to hope USC Film would cast you, and then you'd have to scrounge it up to get the footage. Yeah, but I hate talking about the old days. It's like, but the one of the things that Gary Vaynerchuk says, which just like resonates so much, is that we didn't, we grew up and we had a VCR with VHS, and even that we had to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
It was like, wait, how do you program it? And then we figured it out.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Instagram and with Facebook, and it's I've had to like really take a look at whenever I complain, like, yeah, but you're just young or you're a millennial. Like, that's just me making an excuse to not do something that I know that can help me.
Wow.
Yeah. And I hate that. I am inspired. The things that inspire me are free and helping others.
That's terrible.
I'm like, it's free. I gotta learn how to do it.
Right. Why not?
Because I've spent so much money on like an ad in Variety or things to promote, or trying to get together a show with a camera and renting a place with 2 cameras because I wanted to do a little talk show in 1993, and it was cable access, and you had to put your name on a list and get
and they'd have a little studio room that you go in and film
it.
Yes.
And now all I have to do is just hold up my camera and go, hey, hi, my name's Denice, and I saw you sitting there, and you're awesome, and I want to find out about you. You just can make a show, and it's really just about picking up your phone and pressing play.
And it's free, and it helps people.
Yeah. Because you feel the best, don't you, when you help somebody? Yeah. Anybody who has done any help with the fires, I went to Haiti and helped, and I went to Katrina and helped, and gosh, the worst part about that is you come home and you're like, really, this is my life, worrying about my eyebrows, because you are at your best when you are servicing mankind.
It's really true. And even helping somebody, sometimes it helps somebody just to acknowledge who they are and what they're doing in life.
Oh, it's true.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, just doing that to somebody
at
Starbucks or whatever, and like it's like
on the street,
right.
on the like, wow, you're awesome. Whatever. We were in the elevator, and that was so cute that you said that. And I thought the same thing. The elevator was sort of slow, which wasn't very New York of it, And I'm videotaping, and we're walking down the street, and it turns out he's a photographer too, and he's about to retire, and he's lived in New York his whole life, and he doesn't like it, but he doesn't want to move anywhere else because there's no better place. Right?
Yeah.
So you get inspired by these people because you just get interested in them.
Yeah.
And it is so beautiful to be interested than to be interesting.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And yet we need to attract attention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But attract attention by being interested in what's going on in life.
Well, it's really good advice.
Yeah. Like, and anything that you do that you find that you feel can help someone, right? Like when I floss my teeth, I do squats sometimes. Right? So I floss my teeth.
Coordinated.
Right? And I do fucking squat. Right? Whatever, you're watching TV.
I would try that.
If I get 15 squats in, that's 15
That's
that I
pretty
never
good.
would have done.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm not a big fan of going to a gym. It takes time.
Yeah, no.
You know,
Yeah.
so I do things like, and maybe many of my followers, oh gosh, Jennifer Aspen, gosh, I just love you.
Hi.
I will take stairs, and
Yeah,
and
I always take the stairs.
Yes.
I'm like, well, always
it's
take
free
the stairs.
exercise.
Yeah, it's free exercise.
And when I'm on an escalator with my big photo backpack and my thing,
your bags.
all I'm thinking of is I'm getting cellulite right now. I'm getting cellulite, you know. And so I take stairs, and I found that, people need to know this viewpoint.
Yeah.
So I now always make my little Instagram stories or a little video, and literally like several times a week, I'll get a little text or a direct message with someone with stairs.
And they're
or
showing
their
you they're
feet.
doing the stairs.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
That's fantastic.
It's just,
That's
and that is
cool.
so rewarding.
Yeah, that's great.
You know?
Yeah.
Again, because your purpose is to help someone,
Yeah.
and you did that. You were able to do that using this little
Yeah.
free social media tool.
I love that.
You know, and don't ever worry about like, well, I don't have a lot of followers, or I don't have anyone watching. That's not.
Yeah.
First of all, you'd be surprised. You may only get. What is it? Take the stairs, and I think of you and your mom. Yes, take advantage of the free facilities. Camille, I love you. See, that's the only bad thing about live is you see
I
something.
could see it.
you know.
I wish I could read it. I can't.
Um,
I have to figure that out.
But what was I saying? I don't even know. I don't even know. I was going somewhere. Maybe somebody could tell me where I was going.
Where are we going?
But the stairs, finding something, sharing it.
Sharing it, someone sending you pictures, and then
but to not worry about. I got it. To not worry. You may only have like 5 likes, but you don't know how many people actually saw it, but just didn't tap like.
That's true.
You know, like
Yeah,
Sammy's camera,
Yeah.
right? Big camera store. I went in there one day, and the repair guys, they've become friends of mine over the last 25 years. And underwriters know how to promote themselves when they have a new job they booked. Well, yes. See, that's right. Julie Michaels, by the way, you need to follow Julie Michaels.
Is this Julie?
That's Julie.
Oh, hey, Julie.
Yes, right now, one of the shows that she is go to JMP Productions. SEAL Team is one of the big shows that they work on, but they do How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh, yeah.
Stunt action.
I just did Tappy Together's over there next to SEAL Team.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Well, CBS Radford, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she is so great at when talent is putting theirself out there. She'll see it.
Yes.
And it really, like, don't feel like, that person, he's always promoting what he's doing, and I don't want to be that guy. Okay, you'll never be that guy. Guess what? Because you're not that guy.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Be you.
Be you, you know? And I'm speaking from a point of, I have thought all of that. I'm like, look at that girl, she's always putting pictures of her in her bathing suit or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, I could do a bathing suit too, you know? And I could, but
She could.
but I'm like, but I do me in me, right? Like I don't want to stop what I'm doing because I don't want to become blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is just don't become blah blah. And if you do, and you're like, you know what? I started posting these things, and I probably shouldn't. Good, then don't do it. You know, you're your own boss in this, and that's the good thing and the bad thing about being an entrepreneur is you're your own boss.
Yeah.
You know, you have to wake up in the morning and inspire what your marketing campaign is going to be.
You have to inspire yourself. That's another thing too. I think, like you said, when you get out, it's so easy for me in New York. I know, because when I'm in New York, everything around is interesting. You know,
Yeah.
Here in LA, we're more like in our house, in our car. So you
Yeah.
have to maybe go somewhere, but find something that is inspiring. Do you know what I mean? Like, whether it's your neighbor, you know, or whatever, you know, or just go to the mall and check things out, or you know, and find something that's inspiring for you. And that is a big part of our job, is keeping ourselves inspired.
Completely.
All the time. You know, go to museums. I love going to museums for that reason.
Yeah.
You always come out of there feeling like, oh my God, there's art everywhere.
Talk to grandparents.
You know? Oh, yes.
You know,
Grandparents.
go to an old age home,
Yeah.
you know, listen to stories of old people. Come over to me, I'll tell you stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, I feel that this is such an era of storytelling, and I have found that, you know, I just did a post recently of oh, here we go, it won't happen.
The stories getter.
There's something about
The
stories that
yeah.
makes, what is that?
It is. It's one of these traditions that has been, it's just so, this human tradition that's been carried on for forever.
Yeah,
I
and
think,
you know
too.
what I think some of this is? I have not done it until recently.
Yeah.
And it's been like, oh, like it's such a like, oh, why didn't I do this? Like, why did I wait?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I had a
That makes sense.
yeah, because the tears come from more than just, oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a little something, there's some loss there.
Yeah.
And it was I'm not a good reader, I will say that. I don't read enough books, and that embarrasses me. So I guess I felt that you can't tell stories unless you can read books.
Oh, wow.
And I realized that on a course a couple years ago.
Wow.
And I had written for the Huffington Post. I had a really beautiful thing happen when I went to Italy for my 25th wedding anniversary.
This is a great story.
And I, you know, our friends chipped in and sent us to Sicily, and Julie Michaels had a lot to do with that, and you guys contributed to that, and it was just this heartwarming surprise. And I went, and I wound up finding family that I never knew I had, so much so that in the middle of this little island in Sicily, these complete strangers wound up being my second cousins, and they had pictures of my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and my mom when she was a baby. And they live in a town that barely has running water.
Amazing.
And it was literally because we just drove there, and I just wanted to see this town called Sperlinga, take a selfie, and flip and leave. And I wound up being there, spending the night in my great-grandmother's home, because they still, I mean, and now through social media,
Yeah.
we're always talking.
Yeah.
And so when I came home, I wrote this story, and I made a little video about it, and Ariana Huffington got to see it. She got to see it because I went to see her. I stood online to get an autograph of her book. Again, I didn't really want the book because I'm not a good reader. But my husband said, you need to meet her. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go. It's like $75 at CBS Radford. He's like, too late. I already paid for it. So I go, and I wait online, and I've got the book, and I get up to her desk, and I'm trying to think, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? Meanwhile, this actress who I'd done her headshots was behind me, and she's like, you have a better camera. Can you take a picture of me too? I'm like, yeah. And I get to Ariana, and I'm there, and I'm standing, and I give her my book, and I say, Denice, and she says, oh, you are so tall and beautiful. And I didn't expect her to speak first. And so I went, oh, thank you. And it was June 22nd, which is my dad's birthday. Not very close with my dad. Didn't pay child support, you know, one of those. So, but every June 22nd, I'm like, oh, it's my dad's birthday, and he helped make me tall. He's got the German gene, right?
Yeah.
So it was June 22nd. And so what did I say? I'm like, oh, my dad, he's tall. He's a tall German guy. And then she writes, Denice, thank you. And then I walk away, and I'm like, I didn't say anything about Sicily, anniversary, family. And then I hear, Denice. And I turn around, and there's that girl that was behind me, sitting there with Ariana, smiling, waiting for me. And I get my camera, and I take a picture. And I leave, and I'm like, I didn't get to do anything. I didn't even get a picture.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there at home, and 3 days went by. And I've got that book, her book, Thrive. I think it was called Thrive. And I start reading it, and she says something in there about living your eulogy, like living it now, you know. And I'm like, I love that, and I'm gonna write to her. And she said, she gave her email address, and her thing is, be brief. If I cannot attend an event, I just say, I'm sorry, I cannot attend. I don't say, you know, I have to go fly here and then there and see my She just says, I cannot attend. All right. So I'm like, okay, brief. She wants to be brief, and I want to connect with her as the way I wanted to be connected with when I was an agent, right? So I write in the explanation box, the tall German from CBS, right? Okay. And then I write chapter 3 on living your eulogy, moved me to tears, and I'm adopting that right now. I wanted to let you know about something that happened to me. I'm a first responder who's been to Haiti and Katrina, and friends chipped in and sent us to Italy for our 25th wedding anniversary. I would love for you to watch this 3-minute video. Boom, that's it. But I wrote things that she would give a shit about.
Yeah.
Think about the other person. Don't just think about you. Because you're asking for a favor.
Yeah.
So know something about that person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And wrote that at like 7 at night. Woke up in the morning, 9 o'clock, boom. Denise, this is lovely. I would love for you to write about it on the Huffington Post.
Wow. Wow.
So that opened up my Huffington Post invitation, you know?
Yes.
But there was it was so easy, and yet it was fraught with angst right from the beginning of my husband saying, I already paid this. Like, I didn't even want to pay $75.
He's a good husband.
You know? Right? So you never know where these opportunities are going to be.
Yeah.
And but just say yes to these things.
Yeah,
Where
these
you know,
opportunities, say yes to them instead of backing away from
I
it.
wasn't a writer.
Yeah.
I didn't know Ariana Huffington. I don't know from politics.
Yeah.
You know, and but I just knew that I had this great story and I wanted to share it on a platform.
Yeah, such a good story. Too.
So
it's such a Denice story. It's such a Denice story.
Oh,
that's the stuff that happens to you because you create it. You know, because you're not afraid of.
Yeah, well, I'm not
afraid of going out there and finding that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
yeah,
it's just you at the end of the day.
That's right.
You know, you can't hurt a spirit.
That's right.
You know,
yeah.
Like you can poke me in the face, you know, but you really you can't put bullets in your spirit. So don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be afraid.
Wow,
beautiful.
It is pretty beautiful. So I think we should start to wrap it up. But I do want people to know that this is their set, and I want you to know something. See this mic here? It's not really on, but I purposely moved it into the frame because when you make a video, you want the stuff around you to somehow feed your message as people are scrolling. It could be nothing if you're doing a makeup tutorial. You don't have to. But we were talking about the entertainment industry. Yeah. And so I felt these objects have to do with that.
The entertainment industry gives us a little bit of ambiance.
That's right. That's right. So, testing, check 1 2, check 1 2. So you're gonna continue this on. I'm gonna make sure that
I'm gonna continue this.
Keep it light, fun. I'm not saying they're all gonna be this good.
Believe me, this is gonna be a tough act to follow.
But you can download this. You can repurpose it. Like that's just say yes to anybody here. You can cast. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. No, we have so many amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming and doing this with me. It was so much fun.
Totally.
Love you.
Love you. Mwah. All right, guys, go. Make good, positive things.
Bye.
All right, now I'll show you how to end it. We'll go press finish.